name is David Fitzgerald, and it's time to find out where he fits into Accrington Stanley.
Fitzy, pleasure to sit down with you. So what is your job role here at Accrington Stanley?
Roles changed a little bit, but I'm the youth development phase league coach, but I'm also coaching with the under-18s. So my main role is to link the academy all the way to the first team, really, overseeing the 13s to 16s, but a couple of the other lads take a bit of responsibility off that for me, and then on a daily basis coaching the under-18s with Paul Lodge.
What specifically do you like most about your job?
It's being in football. It's the everyday being around the pitch, being with the players, being with the staff, and still having that buzz, being able to be around it and do this sort of work every day. Really, it's a pleasure for us we're so lucky to be in this sort of environment, to be able to be involved with football, coaching, having the feeling on coming the weekend on a game day. The other side of it now with the coaching as well is having the buzz of seeing some of the players in the first team or getting in and around that and seeing how they're doing and then moving on with their careers. That's the most enjoyable, I'd say, part of it.
This is currently your second spell serving for Accrington Stanley. What inspired you to come back to this club?
A little joke with it, didn't get the job on a technicality as they all say, but with my Manchester accent. No, I came in 2010, initially part-time, and then I've worked my way through from the under-9s through, and eventually in 2012 got offered a full-time role when Paul Cook was in charge. Working through the system, I got, 4 or 5 seasons under my belt, and getting great experiences. Then another opportunity came along at Berra, which I felt was right for me at the time to go for a change. And then after 3 seasons there, it was getting a bit edgy. So one of the members of staff moved on, an opportunity came up, so we applied for the job here. It just felt natural to be coming back. When we sat down with Paul and Duncan and we came up with some of the ideas and obviously some of the lessons I'd learned from being away from the club, the plans that we've got in place with even going all the way up to the owners, the first team manager. Obviously we have a good laugh around the changing room with the staff, but there's a long-term plan in place here. The owner into the manager he wants players getting into the first team, and we've been quite lucky to get a couple of lads through. Having that opportunity and coming back, it seemed right.
Yeah. Of course, even just by your Twitter bio, it's clear to see that you're quite the entertainer, or at least you fancy yourself to be quite an entertainer.
Yeah, I'd say fancy myself more than being
Do you think that kind of approach, a relaxed, sort of happy atmosphere personally that you bring, helps you with your job in any way?
Yeah, I think you've got to have times you've got to be serious, and then there's other times you've got to have that bit of a laugh and a joke around and make it. No matter what we do, we've got to make it enjoyable for the lads. They've got to want to be here. A club like Accrington Stanley, the players have got to want to be here. Not because it's just a smaller club, and because we're competing against these Premier League.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by 5, 6 Premier League outfits, and at the top of the game, when you've got Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, then Blackburn, Burnley, all on your doorstep that you're competing with, you've got to try and offer a different environment for the players wanting to come in. You've got to have fun, you've got to enjoy yourself, because that's where you're going to get the best out of the players and hopefully get the best out of yourself. But you've also got to have them serious elements of your game. It's always a little bit of a joke that you try and be like a bit of an entertainer, but it's not always true. It just came as relating to my accent when we said it, so it's going back to that.
Yeah. Well, it's not getting any warmer out here, so should we make our way inside?
We should do, yeah.
Cool, then. So, did you manage to watch the first episode of our Stanley?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. We were laughing about little bits of it, obviously with Ash, but there was a thing he did get wrong. He was going on about the pies. Now, obviously, I'm the one who enjoys the pies the most, so we were laughing when he said pucker, but it's Clayton Park pies, and I love the old steak and ale one. So
I'm sure he'd be happy to find out.
He's a bit of a cheese connoisseur, but he knows nothing about pies. There was
not quite like you.
No, not exactly not. So no, we had to have that bone to pick with him, saying fancy getting the pies wrong.
So of course, football is a very much results-based organisation, but in terms of the enjoyment for the kids, how important is that for you?
results do come into it, especially as you get into the under-18s, but because you've got to get them into the mentality for dropping into the first team, and obviously that's the results-based business. Our side of it is a lot of development, so you've got to give these young kids time. So the environment and how they enjoy the sport is massive. We train 3-4 times a week, so it becomes quite full on. So when they're in and around the environment, we're here to try and get the best out of them. So for them to obviously develop, the enjoyment is key. Results for me is not just like winning games, but it's obviously getting players through to the first team. Them sort of players, that's results for us.
You've had a lot of experience in and around football for a large part of your life. But for you, what makes a good coach?
These are all different areas. I look at it, some people will look at different coaches and how they motivate them in different ways. You might go to your different style of coaches or managers, but I think someone who can relate to the player, someone who can make people come in there and enjoy what they're doing. Obviously, then there's on the field coaches who can give them a better understanding as they're getting older in the tactical knowledge. But I think it's like anything, if you can be a good person, show them the right standards and give them a good structure to work to, and obviously sharing a bit of the knowledge of the game. But I think being a part of a player's sort of like life and giving them good experiences, but it's them still wanting to be around you or them coming back even after they've left the club, or if you see them or they want to get in touch and they get in touch with your advice. I think that's, for me, is one of the strongest experiences you can have, because you've then had an effect on the player, as well, not just the player, as them as a person as well.
When you think of this wonderful club, Accrington Stanley, what stands out for you personally as your best memory?
I wasn't here during the promotion when they got promoted to League One, but I was aware, and it was a great feeling because you've been here previously and you know what the people in the background do. But I think for me, it's still a great experience when you've got the people in the background. You've got to want to be at this club. Yeah. And the people, what you understand is, like we related to earlier, when I come back, I come back because of it's not just the players that you're working with outside, it's the people in the background. You've got Buzzer, who's the groundsman, and you've got Bill Holden, who's one of the directors who's been around the club, but he's also a bit of an handyman, climbing on the roof, repairing the leaks. So it's a hard thing to explain, but there's like a little bubble. Yeah. And you want to be in this environment, you want to be here, you want to work with these people, because you're all in the same sort of boat where everybody wants the club to do well, and they work hard, they put the hours in. The way the environment is, they want everybody to do well, and I think that's the best thing for me and the best experience so far. Yeah,
I'm sure there's many more to come. Finally, to finish, of course, after watching episode 1 of Our Stanley, you found out that Ash Hoskins' celebrity lookalike is Phil Collins.
Yeah.
What we want to know today is, who is your celebrity lookalike?
Well, I think obviously when we made the joke at the start about the technicality, everyone winds me up about Andy Tate. And there's also, there'll be a lot of pictures. I know I can already see some of the lads now at Bury and they're putting the Frank side bottom out with my big head. So I think that's the closest celebrity I'm going to get to. I've not been lucky enough to be sponsored by him or by Cash was, and didn't have the luck. But I think I can play the drums a bit better than Ash. So obviously it's not as flattering and as what Ash has got, but that's where I'm at.
Thank you very much for sitting down with us. It is truly a pleasure to sit down with a member of Accrington who shows just what this club really means. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.